Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
The Daily Compliance News for September 9, 2021, the Holmes on Trial edition. And we begin with that story as we've dedicated 2 articles to that story today. The first is from the Financial Times. Silicon Valley culture faces questions as Elizabeth Holmes' trial begins, and those questions are sort of the mantra of Silicon Valley, fake it till you make it, and is that fraud when it comes to raising money? I've also linked to the Wall Street Journal report on the opening statements of the lawyers in the trial. The prosecutors said that Holmes knew patient results were inaccurate and that Holmes was out of time and out of money, and that's why she embarked on her fraud to raise money and basically lie to all of the investors going forward. The defense lawyers started off by telling the jury that Theranos failed for human reasons, not fraud, and that it was an innovative company that had a proprietary technology and it failed for many complicated reasons unrelated to fraud. The jury also heard that Holmes is a new mother, which is, of course, is true. The defense lawyers also set up a defense against her former paramour and COO, Sunny Balwani. Jurors were told that he was an executive and that his relationship was very abusive and controlling of Holmes. Theranos investors were savvy and they knew the risks, also according to Holmes' defense lawyers. So you see the outlines of where the trial is going to go. It's pretty straightforward that fraud was involved. Certainly all of the appearances that Holmes made on media and the statements made to potential investors clearly indicated that the product was good and it was working. In addition to the joint venture partners, Theranos was able to hornswoggle into giving them millions of dollars. Whether the defense to all of that works, of course, will be up to the jury. The state of Texas is on tap to lose millions of dollars because of their new draconian anti-abortion law, as cities and states across the U.S. are saying that they will not do business with the state of Texas because of this draconian and frankly unconstitutional measure. And we conclude with a story of MarshMac, or Marsh McClendon, for those not in the insurance industry. They've appointed their first dedicated compliance chief after the former the former chief, who also had a role in the legal department, was elevated to the general counsel role. So we have MarshMac having their own CCO reporting directly to the board of directors. Certainly good best practices to have your CCO report to the board of directors and have them separate and apart from the legal department. So kudos to MarshMac for making this change. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.